Dear guests, a very good morning. Dear representatives of the embassies, Estonia, Korea, and Switzerland have announced their presence. I'm really happy that you were able to join us. Friends of the house or employees. As a president of the German Historical Museum, I'd like to warmly welcome to the 7th edition of our series of symposia, Historical Judgement. Here behind me, on one side and around the corner as well, with a bit more detail, you can see an eagle shedding feathers. This is a detail from a French poster from 1918. We have two variations of this poster in our collection, and you can see the original spec there on the display walls. They allow you to see the context that makes clear the eagle with bloody tongues represents Germany and seems to be in a fight that is led by the French. But you can see the Americans represented, a Brit, an Italian, a Belgium, and a Serb. And the common enemy has almost been in victory over. And this poster represents the significance of one last effort of the Allies. A very uncommon perspective for German Historical Museum. When we brought Historical Judgement to life in 2018, it was our aim to create different perspectives and to shed light from different angles on what has happened in German history that might not always be commonplace. Because only this allows us to question the history in light of new facts and events. With that, it becomes possible to rethink our own judgment, or maybe even to compare different judgments and not only talk about facts, but as well about different analyses or assessments of history and debate those. Today, we find ourselves in Europe, in Germany, in a situation, and you all know that, well, the typical coordinates have to be rethought. The global forces that since 1945, and then with the Cold War in 48, and then at the latest, since 1989, have marked our thinking and our understanding of history. Those global forces have newly aligned. And almost on a daily basis, we can see how this shift is moving forward. And all the more important is it to challenge our judgments as well, allowing for other perspectives to gain more room, or even inviting other perspectives and inviting other people to talk to us about it. This 7th edition can be read as a new test, a new trial to open up our minds and allow for other perspectives on German history in the international context. As you might know, in the museum, we are planning on establishing a new permanent exhibition. The Deutsches has closed, but this allows us to prepare a new permanent exhibition. And in this context, in the framework of a group of extraordinary historian friends. We came together at the University of Cambridge, and during one of these meetings, a question arose, what happened if this central collection about German history would start out with a room that would take on a very uncommon perspective for a national history museum with a view from the outside. I'm not German view on German history. What would become visible doing it that way? With the Varieties of Germany, we would like to do exactly that. Okay. What were we interested in? We wanted to know what are those crystallization points of German history, what incidents or events in German history were of central importance to other countries, but might have gotten lost or forgotten about in our country through the means of historiography. what could be placed in focus, what right now was outside our field of vision, and what is this shift of in relevance that seems important to us. When we turn to our speakers who will be speaking here in front of us today, and some of those who unfortunately cannot be with us, Nike, Turn, and myself learned how different people understood and interpreted our theme for today. There are many different interpretations and perspectives when we talk about varieties of Germany. And at the same time become apparent that this is where the challenges of such a theme lie. The kaleidoscope that resulted from it seems to be a very exciting and appealing, trying it out for the symposium as a first time, but what would be a consequence for a possible exhibition? So this, at least, is a question that I'd like to pose or place in the focus for me and my team, considering all these very exciting presentations. So how could we frame this issue and focus on it that it does not become boundless or arbitrary? This series, Historical Judgement, serves us in this year as a kind of a laboratory to speak about and think about those issues together with all of you. And this is why I'm really happy to be able to welcome you here today. We are especially delighted that you, our dear speakers, have come partly from afar to ask those questions and search for answers. But in order of appearance, Lan Scales from the Durham University, Julia Franco from our department Collections, Philipp Springer from our department Exhibitions here. Thank you so much again for replacing our unfortunately Matthias Struch, as well as our director of department, my vice Maria Ulrike Kretschmann, and that you all have come here, all of you who are in the audience, to be part of it, to think with us and contribute. In order for us to have sufficient time to debate, we have shortened our presentations to 20 minutes of time. And although, of course, it will not be easy to cut down on content with our fantastic speakers, we will refrain from long introductions and biographies. These biographies can be found in the material we handed you for this event. All of us wear a badge, and then you will have the possibility to address them during the breaks. Unfortunately, Yang Song Hong could not be here in person because of a case of sickness in her family, but she had the opportunity to record her presentation a day in advance, so we will have the possibility to listen to her. I do have to share with you already that her perspective on German history of the 60s, the 1960s, has indeed electricized me, and it is a real pity that she could not be with us today and therefore not be part of the debate. All presentations of today, you will find them in printed version in the current edition of our magazine, Historical Judgement. You can acquire the magazine back here in the room. Of course, we would be delighted to have a few editions sold. It's quite a complicated issue to have it produced. I would like to thank the editorial house to make it possible, and Christina Behrendt and Jenny Jakubik from Arven's office. Thank you so much for the great organization in advance. But before we start, it seems to be very important to extend a special and very difficult things. This forum would not be thinkable and possible without the ongoing and trustful effort of Christiane and Nikolaus Weikert. Since the beginning, and comprehensively, they have promoted the project Historical Judgement, the international and interdisciplinary series of symposium, and the magazine with the same name. They have left us all possible freedoms, have supported us in diverse questions. We remember and commemorate Christiane Weikert that unfortunately passed away a few days ago after a very long disease. This is why she has not been with us here in the house since 2020. So we remember her in very deep gratitude, and her efforts and the efforts of Nikolaus Weikert have made this unique project possible. Material support that they have provided as well. Okay. And then I would like to welcome our first chair, Len Scales, Professor of Late Medieval History at the Durham University. In his research, he has dedicated his efforts on the impressions of German identities, collective stereotypes, like the Germans between the 13th and 15th centuries. We're really happy to have you with us. A warm welcome, Len Scales. Thanks for sharing.